The story of the ego, and this story is really about you and me. And the ego that we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is that the ego has the longest lifespan of its species. This ego we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, it can live up to 70 years. But to reach this age, the ego must make a hard decision. In its 40s, its long and flexible talons can no longer grab prey, which serves as food. So when it is, typically when it's very healthy and young, it's sturdy, it holds stuff and stays. But once it gets flexible, then when it holds the food, it falls because, I don't know what the word in Uganda could be, biregeya, I think. That's tragedy number one in its 40s. After all, by the way, is that famous saying that life starts at 40? Who knows? Maybe indeed life starts at 40 because the ego is telling us a story here. Its tragedy number two is that its long and sharp beak becomes bent. So it can no longer hold food and it can no longer peck for food. So the beak is bent and therefore it cannot eat, so to speak, or poke for food. Let me reduce the sound a little bit. That's tragedy number two, but that's not all in its 40s. Tragedy number three is that its old-aged and heavy wings, due to their thick feathers, become stuck to its chest, which makes it difficult to fly. So it can't hold, it can't peck, it cannot fly. Those are three tragedies. So then, the ego is left with two options: to die or go through a painful process of change, which lasts 150 days or 5 months, so to speak. So what happens during those 5 months? The process requires that the ego flies to a mountain top and sit on its nest. And while there, this is what's going to happen. The ego knocks its beak against a rock until it plucks it out. After all, what is the use if the beak cannot be used to peck for food? After plucking it out, the ego will wait for a new beak to grow back, and then it will pluck out its talons, because again they are not as sturdy as they should be. Then when its new talons grow back, the ego starts plucking its old-aged feathers, one at a time. And after 5 months, the ego takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for 30 more years. This is a story about change, ladies and gentlemen. So why is change needed? Many times, in order to survive, we have to start a change process as a team, as an organization, as individuals. We sometimes need to get rid of old memories of this is how stuff has always worked, habits and other past traditions. Only freed from past burdens can we take advantage of the present, and may I also add, and the future.